Live. Going live. Fashionably late. 5 minutes. You're not 15 minutes early. You're late. Or if you're a podcaster and you think that the topic of today that you recorded yesterday, because they all jumble up in your head. Yeah, we got some good ones. We got some vigilante action. We got some craziness going on. I'm squatting on this chat. This chat is mine. I have the lease rights here for you. Do you have a fake lease, Maury? Hey, Scorch. All right, let's get into it. We've got some good ones today. We're going to try and get through 4 topics. Cuatro. Me no inglés. Cuatro. Cuatro, senor. Topic number 1. Let's get into it. Let's just roll. It is Thirsty Thursday. I hope you're having a good Thursday. Whatever that means to you. There's crazy stories going out there. Seeing a lot of this vigilante evictions going on. It's just a thing. I think you've got so many people. One of my topics today that at the end that I wasn't going to do, but I'm going to do it. TikToker tells illegal immigrants how to invade American homes and invoke squatters' rights. This guy goes on for about a minute on TikTok. This is what we're going to do. What we're going to do. I mean, he's just blatantly saying, go ahead. If you find a house, go ahead, take it. Because, you know, squatters' rights are yours. People from Venezuela, they don't know the difference. They're listening to this guy. Hey, he's in, you know, Estados Unidos. Why wouldn't we talk to him? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we do what he says? Nuts, right? Absolutely nuts. Okay, here we go. I had some last minute technical stuff, so I'm still trying to gather what I've got going on here. We're streaming. Let's do this. Back to topic number 1. Tristan, here we go. Vigilantes. And cut after one word. Uno. Vigilantes try to evict squatters at a $1 million Queens house after a homeowner who confronted them is arrested in a tense standoff. Imagine going to your rental property. Somebody's there that you don't know who they are. You confront them and you are the one that goes out in shackles, hands behind your back. Yeah. Does that seem right? No. Let's get into it. Here we go. Gotta watch the video. Got some videos today. Who doesn't like a good video? Hey, somebody asked me to swear less. Gotta be honest, that's probably not going to happen. They were concerned about, you know, forwarding on my content to somebody else. Tristan, you're going to have to cut all this. Sorry about that. But somebody was concerned about me swearing, and I'm just kind of like, I filter about 90% of swear words that come in my head, because there's a lot of MFers in my head that I don't share because it's not appropriate. But if a swear word pops out every now and then, so be it. It's kind of what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Let's get to this video, and we'll take a peeky peek. Peaky lost little ones. Huh. All right. Let's go. We've got that. We've got this. We do not have that.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
And I got to get this for you. And these things lined up as a trick.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
Fiery standoff. She had the deed. I'm going to believe her over some jokers. It's so insane how many rights these people have. She's got to go through the eviction process. House of Horrors. That was just
I'm Dr. Doug Willen.
All right, Dr. Doug, don't care. Let's get back to our story. Yeah, so I've been covering a number of these topics. We had one here in Bellevue. There's a video on this channel about a Bellevue landlord and a Bellevue squatter. And that's got a ton of attention. We got the U.S. Sun to cover it. I mean, it's been out there. There is a ton of people reporting these type stories. And so on this one here, spoiler alert, yesterday, the serial squatters, they all left, I think, except one. There was a follow-up article, but I couldn't really confirm the details. But let's get into this one. Pair of vigilantes allegedly tried to forcefully evict 3 alleged squatters from a $1 million Queens home after the homeowner was arrested when she changed the locks and tried to remove them. The problem that comes in is the cops don't know, and it becomes a civil matter. And you're breaking and entering. No, it's my home. They don't know who's who, right? 2 unidentified men driving a black pickup truck pulled into the driveway of the Flushing home, searching for the tenants Tuesday afternoon, according to the Daily Mail. "We are looking to get this guy out," said one of the men, allegedly said. A neighbor told the outlet, "I am here to talk to him. I want to see why he is here." Does that seem reasonable? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, this is my house. Get the F out. Get the F out. I mean, and you know what? You're going to see more and more landlords take matters into their own hands and just make things happen. Make things happening. We had a family conversation where we talked about, all right, here's that gray line of where you may need to cross. And, multiple family members of mine own a lot of real estate, tons of rentals. And this comes up. How do you get people out? Well, sometimes, you get, it's not Guido the Killer Pimp back from Risky Business days with Tom Cruise, but you get somebody that has some size to them. And, you maybe let them know, we got to do this. Sorry about that. You let them know, you guys are out of here. Otherwise, this isn't going to go well for you. But these squatters, they know oftentimes they've got the upper hand because, the legal system is such, they're good people for the most part. Let them squat. They'll be fine. The $1 million home in Flushing, Queens was taken over by squatters last month while the owner was trying to sell it. Adele Andaloro, 47, was in the process of selling the property when the group shadily took refuge in the home last month. Adoloro inherited the $1 million property from her parents after they died. She confronted the trio and changed the locks in hopes that they would not be able to re-enter if they left. However, a male inside the home called the police on Andaloro, who was later arrested. A squatter called the police on the landowner, and the landowner was arrested. What's wrong with this picture, right? What is wrong with this picture? And this is not just New York. This is all over. I did one yesterday. It was a $4.5 million Hollywood Hollywood residence, where the homeowner had vamoosed and took off, and they were throwing massive parties. They were doing cover charge, and these folks got in and they got hold and they put together a bogus lease, and you can check out that podcast. But this is one of those cases that this one has gone viral. This one, so many of you guys sent me this, and thank you. However, a male inside the home called the police on Andaloro and was later arrested. Neighbors have noticed some concerning activity. I have concern about what's going on here from the house since the alleged squatters snaked their way into the home. It's insane what's going on. A 24-year-old college student living next to the home, identified only as Costa, said that she's been on edge since the occupants arrived. Well, they're living there illegally, and if they're willing to break and enter into a home, odds are they've got other shenanigans going on in their lives, right? Because that's what happens so often. Number one, they're squatting, but they're doing drugs. We've seen instances of where they have been renting out rooms to OnlyFans. I mean, you can imagine just, how that's going. Just swell, right? We all know what they're up to, so we're all kind of pissed about it. Maybe they're selling drugs. Maybe this crew is selling drugs. Little human trafficking thrown in there. Little human trafficking. I mean, The concerned neighbor claimed boards were all over the property and the people occupying the home were doing construction on the house all night long. Yeah, they had to make some adjustments so that they could kind of hunker down when the landlords came. We got to lock things down here because this is a battle. This is a battle. I've talked about it before. The movie Pacific Heights. Watch that. You think some of this stuff, hasn't been out there for years and years and years? Michael Keaton, he played a great role in that movie Pacific Heights. I heard a drill and saw through my window that they were drilling holes into the wall and putting up boards. Yeah, they were locking down their fiefdom. They were doing what they needed to do to protect theirs. It wasn't theirs, but because of the way the laws are, these squatters can get in and just wreak havoc. I don't know if the board is still there, but it looked like they were trying to hide what was inside. What was inside? Shenanigans, right? A woman who requested to remain anonymous claimed that she saw one of the unethical dwellers carrying a door into the home late one night. What are you doing with that door? I'm installing it. Where? Right? I mean, what's going on there? Were they making some kind of, meth lab in the basement? Who knows? Who knows what's going on? So then we get into this section here. What do you need to know about squatters in New York? What are squatters' rights? How hard is it to get rid of a squatter? This is going on all over. There is an epidemic of this stuff going on because it's oftentimes happening in these liberal cities where the court system, the criminals know that even if they get busted, the world's their oyster. Another one of my stories today is about tourism burglary. They're coming in from Chile, and they don't do weapons. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The woman also noted that a for sale sign had been on the property for a long time before one person came out of nowhere and began living in the home. Well, sometimes it takes a while to close the home. It goes under escrow. Somebody needs 60 days to get their financing together. You've got a good offer, but they need a little bit of time in today's mortgage rate environment where you're up, closer to 7 than you are 6. Things are expensive. It takes time for people to get these mortgages together. I don't know what the deal is on this home, but it's not like, if somebody doesn't bring cash, then it may take a little bit. Residents of tight-knit Queen Street, which many have called home for over 30 years, expressed that they're ready to do as much as possible to get the alleged intruders out. How far would you go to get an intruder out? Pretty far. Like if somebody rolled into my house, I was vacant. I was gone for a week. I was down covering the border. We just thought it was vacant and you weren't living here. Man, I'd end up in jail. I'd tell you that. I'd end up in jail. Some have even floated the idea of starting a petition in hopes that it will help, according to the Daily Mail. No, the best thing you can do is literally just put up as much of a fight as you can and shame these people into getting the F out. And that's what happened in this case. It's my understanding that late yesterday, this article was written a few days ago. It is my understanding late yesterday, all of the folks that were in the home, they basically, it was too hot. The situation was too hot. And I think that's what you have to do if you don't want to go down that, hey, contractor, can you bring a whole bunch of hammers over there? And, maybe let them know that, and with a crew of 4 of your biggest guys, maybe let them know that they are no longer welcome in the home and that you guys need to do some remodeling if they don't leave. And by remodeling, I mean, demo, whatever you need to do. Andaloro had been living in the home with her daughter and mother until her mom's death a few years ago. A beloved community member, Andaloro, put the 2-story home on the market, but that's when the tenants got in and brazenly replaced the entire front door and locks. Before her arrest on February 29th, which was captured by ABC's Eyewitness News, Andaloro faced off with the group in a tense standoff. The police were eventually called and escorted 2 people off the property. With at least 3 apparent residents still inside, cops told Andaloro that she had to sort out the saga in housing court because it was considered a landlord-tenant issue. It's a civil matter. Police don't want to get involved. Police don't want to be responsible for making the decision. This lease looks pretty good. It's designed to have the judges do that. But, the court system is oftentimes is so backed up that it allows these people, and through multiple loopholes, they just continue staying in the property. And they can stay there for literally years. With at least 3 apparent residents still inside, cops told Andaloro she had to sort through the saga in housing court because it was considered a landlord-tenant issue before she was arrested. Tristan Cutt, I'd already read that one. So Andaloro was arrested for unlawful eviction after cops arrived and determined she had changed the locks. Unlawful eviction. Could you imagine? Sorry, what? These guys came in here illegally and you're arresting me? Oof, I'd be out of my mind. The homeowners was charged with, never mind. In New York City, a person can claim squatters' rights after just 30 days of living at a property. 30 days. It's my place. So that's why the TikToker is saying, hey, go to places that are vacant, that look run down. They're not going to know you're in there. And, if you're in New York City, 30 days, all right, you got rights. You've literally got rights for squatting and destroying a home. Under the law, it's illegal for the homeowner to change the locks, turn off the utilities, or remove the belongings of the tenants from the property. Pacific Heights, 90? I mean, it was Michael Keaton. He's the bad guy. Melanie Griffith is in there with her boyfriend, the guy from the Wrestler movie. And Matthew Modine, I believe it is. Matthew Modine. He was in Stranger Things. He had a great role there. But, the whole goal is for the squatter wants to have the homeowner just come after him because then they get arrested, like this woman. By the time someone does their investigation, their work, and their job, it will be over 30 days, and this man will still be in my home, Andaloro said. I'm really fearful that these people are going to get away with stealing my home. Well, that did not happen, but I'm sure it wasn't in pristine condition when she got it back. And I hope she got it back late last night because, so many people have heard of this story. So many of you guys sent me this story, like, look at this going on. Look at these shenanigans happening. And yeah, it's absolute insanity what happens. And it's because the court system, it's not quick to respond. And and then these people understand that if they get one of these entities that bails everybody out, they're going to get some legal representation and they're going to figure out a loophole where they can stay in there forever. And if you try and go in and just take them out of there, you're the one that's literally going to go to jail like this woman here did. Now, I don't think she's going to get prosecuted because, once they sort it out like that, the cops don't know. The cops are just like, yeah, you're going to jail. This is what we're understanding. So somebody's got to go to jail. Who's going? Like in a domestic violence issue when somebody, whacks somebody else, somebody's going to go to jail. Pick who it is. Well, it's not the squatters. It's not the squatters. So when I was at the Bellevue protest last weekend, glad I went to that because there's so many of these stories that I'm reading now. The one of the employees of the owner of the home that has squatters in it, he flagged me down, and you can see it in the video. But his bottom line was, and he's I don't know where he's from, but he's not. He's shorter and a little bit darker. He drove kind of a big landscape truck or maybe a construction truck, something along those lines. And he told me, hey, with his window rolled down in the middle of the street, in third world countries, and he kind of pointed over, you wouldn't have this happen. And he was basically saying somebody would just, go in there with a crew of guys and toss people out, just throw them out in the street. Just you don't have a court system that coddles these criminals, that coddles these squatters. You've got basically vigilante justice, and it's accepted because in that society, yeah, you're not going to take my house. You take my house, you're going to get pummeled. You're going to get thrown to the street and you're going to get pummeled. But not in the good old US of A, and especially not in these big liberal cities where, the tenants have all the rights and the landlords, they're just standing around holding their, what, going, what do we do here? What's going on? What do we do? And they got to lawyer up. They got to spend a bunch of money. and then they got to go through this whole process. You can spend thousands of dollars, spin your wheels with attorneys before you even get anywhere at all. So it sounds like this case had a happy ending. I'm sure it'll be in, it should be out there. There's a couple of stories on how it went, but I couldn't verify, so I didn't include those in today's newscast, whatever it is that we're calling. All right, that's it for me on this one. We're going to move on to the next one, but here is our outro. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm going to end this one. Love to have you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell, hit that like button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Live streamers, stay tuned. See what you got going on. Great movie. Yeah, it was a great movie, right? I don't know what movie you're talking about. I'm guessing the one I talked about. Maybe you guys are talking about something else. You didn't know how to migrate without passing a test. You had to know English. Yeah, what happened to that one, Lost Little Ones? You had to know English. You had to be able to at least get through U.S. society a little bit, right? So how did that, when did all this change? What is going on? Honestly, can anyone name anything that Democrats have made better? Oh, Griff Hall. Man, that I'm trying to think. I always try and think of, is there anything that Biden has done that was a positive? Is there anything that they've done that's a positive? I can never come up with anything, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. No, I would say no. Answer from my end of things would be no. And you've just got so many instances of stuff going sideways. And so much of it has to do with the legal system. And that's what's going on right now. What's my next story here? Oh, yeah. Oh, here's one. Yeah, this is what we're going to get into. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's just roll with this next one. Okay, here we go. So over 300,000 unaccompanied immigrant children under the age of 18, they've been let into the U.S. under Biden, and we don't really know where the vast majority of them are. We don't know. Remember about 10 months ago, there was, a report 85,000 had just kind of disappeared somewhere in the United States with unaccompanied adults, and we don't really know. Yep, we lost track. Can't figure out where they are. Does this seem right to you? No. Now it's up to 300,000. Let's get into it. Here we go. Do I have? Yeah, I've got this video. Watch this video. This is from 10 months ago. So this is kind of where we started, and now we're escalating, and a report came out as a result of this kind of thing going on. And now it's 300K. Do you see how we're getting all this information sent back to us? Oh yeah, it was actually 320,000 people that were flown into the United States from the Biden administration's One app, the Customs and Border Protection One app. Yeah, that was 320,000 people. And then we lost another 300,000 here. Yeah, there's coming up on 750,000 people. It's not quite that much, but round up, always round up, right? I mean, there are so many people just rattling around the United States. It's insane, right? It's insane. Let's watch this video. All right, gotta make sure I got all that squared away. We got some audio.
Whistleblowers are revealing that the Biden administration is releasing young migrant children into the arms of adult supervisors who have not been properly vetted with a background.
I think we're going to go to right about in here. Kristen cut off this beginning segment, although I don't need to tell you that.
Whistleblowers are revealing that the Biden administration is releasing young migrant children into the arms of adult supervisors who have not been properly vetted with a background check. And that's coming from Representative Juan Ciscomani.
Now we have 85,000 missing unaccompanied minors.
All of those young children were processed through the port of entry here in the U.S., but now there are no sign of them anywhere.
These are the minors that are sent up by their parents with a last-ditch hope that they can make it to the land of opportunity and have a better shot at life.
Now lawmakers are calling on the Biden administration to reveal how many minors were allowed into the country and were turned over to adult sponsors who weren't vetted properly. Representative Ciscomani says the House has ways to hold the Biden administration accountable.
We have the power of the purse. I'm in the Appropriations Committee, and we're gonna use any pressure point here with the administration that is necessary to get their attention.
Ciscomani says these young children are being forced into sex slavery and child labor rings. In his letter, he calls out Health and Human Secretary Javier Becerra and Homeland Security of Secretary Services Alejandro Bojorquez, accusing them of not doing anything to help find these young missing children.
We want to continue to drive resources to the border. We're going to do that, and they're going to come with accountability factors as well. Secretary Mayorkas and Secretary Becerra need to answer the questions that I asked them on these letters. Where are these kids? What are we doing about it? What are we doing with the ones that are coming in now?
We reached out to multiple Democratic lawmakers and still haven't heard anything back. Now, next Thursday, Title 42 is set to expire, so shelters here in southern Arizona are preparing for an influx of migrants to come across the border. Reporting live from Midtown, Gabrielle Parrish, News 4 Tucson.
And come across the border, they did. They came across the border in numbers like we have literally never, ever seen. And now we've gone from 85,000. We thought that was shocking. Now we've, that just kind of, that just entered into the United States consciousness. Oh, 85,000. Now we're over 300,000. So we're kind of immune to the 85. 85 was actually pretty good. Now we're at 300,000. But what I would say is, as a parent, could you imagine, maybe releasing a 16-year-old boy, 17-year-old boy, 18-year-old boy, something in that age range where they're mostly fully grown? Okay, yeah, all right. They're going to get killed, or something's going to happen to them. How about like a 12-year-old girl? How about like a 10-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy, 10-year-old? You know what I mean? I mean, as a parent, having to make that decision of, okay, they're either going to get something really bad is going to happen to them here in Venezuela, or we roll the dice and we hope that they get through that gauntlet of, making it into the U.S. And then we hope that the U.S. takes care of them. But the end result is we don't know. And the United States government, literally, let's get back to this. Now I got to square this up. Here we go. How about that? Better? Because usually when you guys see it, it's just all teed up, right? The magic of editing. That's what Tristan does. He edits. The Biden administration has released over 300,000 unaccompanied immigrant children into the United States after they crossed the border illegally. The head of the Department of Health and Human Services admitted to concerned House Republicans Wednesday. I've got concern over the 300,000 children. Could you imagine? I mean, where'd they go? Ugh. I don't really want to know, right? I mean, that's one of those, okay, yeah, not good. I mean, your head just goes to the absolute worst, right? Or organ, selling of illegal organs, one of those. Sex trafficking, indentured servitude, forced labor. Ugh, yeah, not good. Republicans grilled the HHS Secretary Javier Barrera for details on the extent of which immigrant children have come over the border and been released into the country, including to unrelated adults, rather than being deported back to their home countries. What's worse? What's worse? Coming to the United States and here you go. You can go to Uncle Jim there. He's going to treat you real well. Uncle Jim, he's your new family member. We don't know anything about Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim's just, yeah, come on, kids, let's go. Got candy. No, they're not all like that, but we don't know. That's the bottom line, right? We don't know. We don't know who these folks are that are taking the kids. We don't know where the kid's gone. Just a quick 300,000 somewhere out there. I mean, you thought Epstein's island was, a big deal. Where'd the 300,000 go here? Probably over 300,000 in the last 3 years or so, Becerra said in a rare public admission about the magnitude of the border crisis. No previous administration, including two-term presidents, have released as many children. And he's done it inside of 4 years. Yeah. I mean, that is some crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Children, kids under 18. The figure is on par with the data at the HHS website, which indicates 392,000 children have been let go to sponsors in the United States since October 2020, which includes the final 4 months of the Trump administration. Remember when people were worked up about the kids being separated from their parents? At least they were in the same state. Yeah, were they in a, were they locked up in a cage? I thought that was just, it's like, they're doing security here, folks. I mean, come on now. The number pales in comparison to even previous two-term presidential administrations and exemplifies the effect that the border crisis continues to have, not just on border authorities, but on unrelated agencies. Where did all the kids, I mean, the kids should be showing up with some of these social agencies, right? Hey, got a kid here that doesn't have any parents. And yeah, they said that foster parent was no good. I mean, some of those stories should be coming up. If you see them, let me know. I mean, it's got to be out there. With 300,000, like I was sold into sex trafficking. They took my spare kidney, whatever it is. That's got to be out there because it's happening to these kids. You know it is. A Washington Examiner analysis of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection data revealed that more than 464,000 unaccompanied minors have been apprehended at the border between Biden's first full month in office in 2021 and January 2024. I mean, it's wrong in so many ways, so many ways. There's an end goal here, and I still haven't really figured out, why are we doing this? What's going on? I know Elon Musk, he reshared a video. It was a quick video that kind of highlighted what he thought the issues were. Or it was a quick video that kind of described why all this is going on. Maybe it's true. Immigrant children began arriving alone at the southern border early on in Biden's term, following the Department of Homeland Security's decision not to return children to Mexico, as had been the Trump administration's protocol during the pandemic. The last several years have seen between 125,000 and 150,000 children arrive alone annually, far below the 68,000 record in 2014 under Barack Obama and 80,000 under former President Donald Trump in 2019. So just literally taking in almost double, just almost double. Yeah, come on in. Go see Uncle Jimmy. Jimmy's going to treat you right. Trust me. Under normal circumstances, children without parents are taken into Border Patrol custody after they walk across the border and are to be transferred within 72 hours to HHS, which has jurisdiction over caring for children. But the influx of children prompted the Biden administration to take emergency action responding to the arrivals and has continued to, despite Republicans' calls to deter children from coming. We're not deterring anybody from coming, are we? Just come on in. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We'll give you a car. We'll give you, housing. We'll give you food. We'll give you whatever. You can ride the scooters illegally. You can do whatever you want. You can squat in homes. If you know the laws, you're going to be great here. This is going to go great. You might have to sleep on the sidewalk for a little bit, but housing for all, mostly. Biden created tent cities at various spots up and down the border where unaccompanied children could be housed. I mean, this is not compassionate. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but it's not this. Yeah, I'm not really sure where they are. Yeah, it could be out there. I hope they are. I hope they're doing okay. Maybe they can send us a postcard sometime. Horrible. HHS sped up the release process by easing its vetting and screening process of sponsors and others in the household. HHS conducts criminal public records checks on the specific sponsor, though a sex offender registry check is not required by law. Not required by law. That seems reasonable, doesn't it? I mean, sex offender, children, I mean, yeah, nothing's going to happen there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And household members are not required to be screened. So if you got a sex offender in your household, oh, no, Oh, we're not checking anybody out. It's all good. It's all good. That 14-year-old girl, she's going to be fine. She's going to do just fine. That's terrible. The child may remain in the U.S. through immigration court proceedings for illegally entering into the border, at the border. Cases can take a couple of years to a decade to resolve. We know people are getting court cases for 2031. Just years down the road. Years down the road. So what else do we have here? It's not a statutory obligation, but we make a commitment to try and follow up with every child that we place with at least 3 phone calls to this child and 3 phone calls to this sponsor. And what they're saying is that, 300,000 of them are, not really sure. They're somewhere out there. Yeah, we lost track of them. But you can see, maybe they go with family. I'm hoping, maybe they go into a community somewhere where they're, they've got friends, they've got family. I don't know. But so many of these kids, you hear these stories about these kids showing up at the border. And they've got a name and a number written down on a piece of paper. And that's literally what they've carried for like 2,000 miles, through 7 countries, through the Darien Gap, if they made it through. It's nuts. And the United States, with the way that we're handling the border, we are literally just saying, hey, come on in. Come on in. This is going to be great. Come on in. Let's party. Let's go. Come on in. Becerra said that the HHS provides children with information about who to call if the sponsor they are released to or someone else is abusing or neglecting them. That's not going to matter. These kids are in a foreign country. They don't know where they are. They don't have any adult that they can trust. And you're telling them, hey, here's a number. Go ahead and give them a ringing ring. On what phone? Do they have phones? Do they get phones? Probably. So they can call if the sponsor they are released to or someone else is abusing or neglecting them. They don't have anybody else to rely on, right? So they're children and they're trying to figure out which way is up. They're in a new country. They may not speak the language. The story just goes on and on and on. This is it's so ridiculous that this is happening. We try to make sure that notice they say we try to make sure that they're aware that they can call a hotline number where we will try to make sure that they get assistance, said Becerra. Another governmental entity. Oh yeah, call this hotline. It's going to be great. It's like in Pittsburgh, they're going to be calling the hotline of, yeah, my home's being broken into, but there's only 20 cops in the Pittsburgh police force right now. So I know my call is going to a voicemail. So if somebody could come help me, that's what's going to happen with this, with these kids calling this hotline number. Nothing. Because these kids they're in the hot seat. If they've got something bad going on to them, they're not going to reach out and call. And it's just not how this works, right? The whole thing is just so upside down from the get-go that it makes absolutely zero sense. So what are we going to do? Make that vote count, right? This nonsense has got to stop. This is just ridiculous. Could you imagine if this would have happened under Trump's watch? Oh my word. This would be front page news all day, every day. Where are they? What happened to them? What happened to little Johnny? What happened to Susie? We saw Susie walking off and they went with somebody. Where are those people? Where is the stranger danger? What is happening? Where is the accountability? Where is the accountability from this administration? Legacy media would just be all over it, right? Just day after day. And instead, it's kind of up to guys like me calling this out, going, hey, this isn't normal. This is an ongoing massive shenanigan. What are we doing? A lot of people are coming into the country. Can't really work out where some of them are. And if some of them are minors, it's a numbers game. You let 8 million people into the country, you're going to have a certain percentage that are under the age of 18. They're minors. You've seen them come across as young as like 8, 9, 10, unaccompanied. Those children are barely able. I have kind of the benchmark for me is when your kid can pour his own bowl of cereal and, pour milk in there and not just F it up. Drop the milk. Just create this huge mess. When your kid can get to that age, what is that? Maybe 5-ish. They're able to coordinate all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what it was. But these kids are barely beyond, pouring their own cereal, and they're going into a country where there's known sex trafficking, there's known human trafficking. I mean, the cartels don't care. They're just a commodity to them. So you're knowingly putting these kids into this situation. They can barely pour cereal. And then we're like, not really sure what happened to them. I mean, they're probably out there. I mean, we got a hotline. There's a hotline. You know, if there's problems, I'm sure that 12-year-old girl, she's going to call a hotline and, get some help. She'll get the help she needs. No, she's down the road. She's hosed, right? Yeah, it's crazy. All right, I'm going to wrap up this one. Got to do an outro here. I'm going to wrap up here on this segment. Thank you so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button for this video if you're finding this entertaining or helpful. Sharing the content is one of the best things you can do. It lets the algorithm know this is good content. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. All right. That's that one. Let's go to... Here we go. Oh, this is a good one. The next segment is burglary tourists terrorizing LA as marauding South American gangs fly in to steal from mansions. That's a Hollywood movie right there, right? And that's like Point Break, isn't it? And Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves chasing him, Gary Busey overseeing Keanu Reeves, Johnny, whatever his name, Johnny Unitas is a quarterback. Yeah, this is literally like a Hollywood movie. Burglary tourists. Hey, yeah. All right, I'm gonna drink a little bit more water here, and we're gonna do this one. Let's get this one done. This one has a good video too. USA is the biggest producer of child corn. Yeah. It's nutty, right? It's sick. Kids. And these are kids that their parents had to make that decision. All right, here you go. Good luck. El Norte. Go with the people that were paying thousands of dollars to try and get you across the border because things are so crappy here in our hometown. Yeah, they need to make squatting illegal and arrest the squatters. Absolutely. New sub from KLW World News. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Let's do this. Here we go. Tristan, here's our intro. Burglary tourists, they are terrorizing Los Angeles as marauding South American gangs fly in to the United States on a visa to steal from mansions. That literally sounds like a Hollywood movie, doesn't it? Yeah, let's get into it. It's not. Here we go. That's a little video. What do you say? A video action? You know, people rail on Fox all the time. They carry news stories that nobody else will touch. New York Post, Fox, are they a little bit sensational? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do they have their, news bias? 100%. But they also cover stories that other people don't. So I ended up, some of the Fox videos, some of the best stuff out there.
Called burglary tourism. Here's how it works. Police say thieves from South America come to the U.S. on tourist visas and target homes in wealthy neighborhoods, especially in cities with soft on crime policies like Los Angeles. Even if they're caught, they often don't stay in custody for long. They move on to other states, fencing the stolen good here or shipping it back to countries like Chile. William Lachanesse is in Los Angeles. He's got this crazy and bizarre story for us. So, William, why are they so hard to catch?
Well, number one, Sandra, I am told most are arriving here specifically from Chile, which is the only Latin American country you don't need a visa to enter the U.S. as a tourist. That means no background check. No, secondly, they have fake IDs to rent cars and hotels, so there's no electronic trail to follow. Police caught these 4 red-handed outside Philadelphia with masks, gloves, reciprocating saws, and glass break-in tools. North Carolina, 4 more. These 4 guys face 200 charges of breaking and entering homes to steal. Glendale, California. Police there arrested these 3 from burglarizing multiple homes. And finally, Baltimore, these 5 connected to break-ins in Maryland, North Carolina, Alabama, Oklahoma. What do they all have in common? They all entered from Chile posing as tourists.
So not only are they robbing us blind and burglarizing our homes, but then they're not held to answer for their crimes because we don't know and cannot represent to the court what their criminal background is.
And that's because
we don't know.
as a tourist waiver country, police don't know their criminal background before they board an airplane, allowing them to travel to wealthy areas, not just LA, New York, Miami, Phoenix, Detroit, Indianapolis, and more, where they case houses, break in, take cash, collectibles, and jewelry.
I can tell you that we have a significant increase in burglaries from organized groups that are outside this country.
And why are they so effective? Now, with those fake IDs, existing police databases and informants are virtually useless. High-end jamming devices disable home security systems. And because they don't use guns, most sheriffs don't hold and DAs don't prosecute residential property crime.
There you go.
I literally cannot comprehend.
So if you think about it, they figured out the loophole, right? They figured out, all right, so if we don't use guns and there's no violent crime, we can get in, we can get out. And if things get hot, we just leave the country. Nobody knows who they are. They just leave the country. So it's literally like in the movie Point Break, where, the surfers, where they were chasing the surf around the world, right? They're world-class surfers riding the big one. And that's how Patrick Swayze, he went out in the end, right on that enormous 150-foot wave, just took him down. Got taken out to the sea. Yeah. No, they were chasing, they were chasing the waves around, and so they'd do a little burglary action, and then when things got hot, let's go surf. Let's go do our thing. But, even when that movie was made, was that like 30 years ago? There was this notion that if you were a robber, eventually you were going to get caught and you were going to do some time. Not anymore. Not anymore. You just, the legal system, and there's no functioning, just everything's kind of breaking down. And that's why there's so many cracks happening out there and so much of this stuff. 30 years ago, you would have not seen this headline because it would not have been a thing. Not have been a thing. The numbers on this one are pretty staggering, because this story here, we'll talk about it. Wealthy Los Angeles residents are increasingly seeing their luxury goods stolen by bands of burglary tourists who are exploiting the U.S. visa system, enter the country and break into mansions before fleeing to their home countries with the loot, police have warned. The burglars from Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru are allegedly responsible for 94 burglaries in just one section of the city in 2023 alone. Officials of the Los Angeles Police Department told the LA Times. The gangs are also believed to have stolen from Long Island and New Jersey last month, and in 2022, the FBI considered them an enormous threat to the U.S., a supervisor special agent told the Washington Post. But with everything else that we've got going on, is this really that important? All right, so they're stealing some stuff for some rich Americans. Do we care? No, not really. Just don't care. Don't care. Don't care at all. Look at this guy just wandering through a house. He's going to go rifle through the jewelry drawer. but they have only become more active over the past few months. Los Angeles police said that as they announced a task force to crack down on those Lanzas Internacionales, international thieves, last week. So you got this task force because it's become so apparent. Ooh, yeah, this isn't good. Ooh, yeah, not good. The number of crimes tied to these kind of crews are way, way up, despite overall burglaries being down. You know what? Here's a TikToker we're going to talk about later. Are these criminal number? Are the crime numbers way, way down? Or are people just not reporting them? Yeah, I think they're way underreported because we've just become so. The word Andrea Suarez from We Heart Seattle uses is inured, meaning you've just become used to something really bad. All right, crime happens. Big city. We're in LA. Crime happens. My house got robbed 14 times last year. Yeah, it's pretty normal. Just you take the good with the bad, and that's all you can do. It's believed the thieves are entering the country under a 2014 visa waiver program. Cut that off. If you know, cut it off. Biden's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. It was intended to increase tourism from trusted countries. Chile is a trusted country. Okay. All right. I would say not now. Make them get a visa. Know who they are. Might cut down on this just a scooch, right? Just a scooch. If you've got the intel to put together a task force in Los Angeles, that might be your sign, right? The program, the electronic system for travel authorization, allows South Americans to enter the United States for an unlimited number of 90-day periods. Just keep going back to back. Come on back, steal some stuff, go home, come back, steal some stuff. They target wealthy homes in cities with lax bail laws and return to their home countries while on bail if they get popped. I mean, how many of these are not getting popped? Yeah, tons, right? Tons. The groups do not carry guns as they don't want to risk gun charges. They're smart. They understand the odds. Okay, yeah, not worth it, not worth it. But they're often equipped with so-called jamming devices that allow them to access a home's Wi-Fi system and potentially unlock security systems connected to the internet, Hamilton said. These guys know what they're doing. They are tourist burglars, right? We're going to go on a little international trip. We're going to go take a little vacation. We'll come back with some loot. Like modern day pirates on airplanes, right? The burglars from Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru are allegedly responsible for 94 burglaries. Talked about that. They often climb on ladders, rain gutters, or stacked patio furniture to enter a home's master bedroom on the second floor, where people are less likely to have an alarm system. That's true. I think about that fairly often. I've got a big sliding glass door in my home. And I don't have blinds on it yet. So it's kind of like, all right, I walk out there. I don't have much in my home. If somebody wants to steal my TV, whatever. Got some other, I just don't have a lot of stuff. I'm a single dude living in a house. And, I don't have that normal, I've got the wife's jewelry here. We got all this stuff. It's like, okay. But I still think about, okay, I'm closing my master bedroom window, which is on the second floor. Do I need to lock it? And you look out the window and you go, it's like, what is it, 12 feet down there? I don't know how tall it is, whatever that is. Probably not even that. The window might be ground level. But I'm like, do I need to lock my, if somebody came into my house, they just throw a big brick through the glass sliding door, right? Throw a big brick through the front door and just come in and rampage through the house. That's realistically what would happen. But it's funny what goes through your mind, right? All right, I'm leaving my house for a few days. I'm going to Texas because I want to show you guys what's happening at the border. How much do I lock my house up? And I've got neighbors just crawling on all sides of me. I have 6 homes that I'm kind of pie-shaped lot in between. So I don't worry about security a lot. Plus, if somebody really wants to get my stuff, it's like, all right, it's stuff, whatever. Making matters worse, Chilean President Gabriel Boric refuses to give U.S. officials the criminal histories of Chileans using the ESTA system, which does not require a background check. Yeah. So we want to bring in these people, but their government won't do anything about security? Man, that sounds like something that Orange Man Bad might take care of, right? And he would be considered racist. Oh, that guy is racist. Doesn't like the Chileans. Spitzer is suing the federal government for not disclosing its negotiations with Chile over the visa requirements and is calling for new laws to stop criminals from entering the country. We just got people running just right through our border, don't we? Whether it's, flying in illegal immigrants or, these criminals coming in on a visa, they're getting in legally. Yeah, but they're mostly, they're mostly tourists. Yeah, they break in, steal stuff, take it home. Wonder why they don't try and fence it here. It's saying that they're taking some of it home. That seems weird. Do you have any stolen contraband in your check-through luggage? No, I don't. Meanwhile, the district attorney of Ventura County has set up a dedicated prosecutor to deal with crimes committed by these burglary tourists. In Los Angeles, police announced the creation of the task force to combat the rise in burglaries after a 17-year-old Chilean national was caught in Arizona following a series of jewel heists. Police said the teen falsified Venezuelan identification and repeatedly evaded officers by claiming that his parents left him alone in the country with the friend of the family, the LA Times reports. Well, with 300,000 illegal minors, that very well could be the case. We don't know. This guy is up to no good. And you know what? You bring in 7, 8, 10 million people into the United States, certain percentage are going to be the bad hombres, aren't they? Is this shocking? No, it's not. It's like, okay, that figures. Yeah. Chalk that one up to, that's reasonable. Chalk that one up to, I have concerns about what's going on here. He was turned over to LA County Children and Family Services. I'm sure he'll do fine. And this kid looks like he'll do fine in a foster care situation, right? Hey, you want to take this guy? He's got a little background as a burglar, but yeah, he's really good at washing those second floor windows. He's good on a ladder. He knows his way around. He's quiet too. He's just so stealthy. We don't hear him coming down the hall in the middle of the night. Weird. But he disappeared before he was caught in Arizona because they book it the F out. Why wouldn't they? And you know what? We haven't even touched on the whole immigration thing. In most of these sanctuary cities and these sanctuary states, they are not turning people that are into the country illegally over to ICE. They're not doing that. And so these individuals, they're not getting deported. Yeah, this guy's in on a visa, but if he just books it out, we don't know where they are. We don't know what kind of ID he's got. He flies out. I mean, now you're having to do that facial recognition thing if you don't have an ID. But if you tell him, hey, this is who I am, you give him some kind of piece of ID. Okay, all right, Jorge, go ahead and board the plane. 2 others in the alleged gang, 32-year-old Grecia Romanduski, Gaete Castillo, and that's all one name. Boy, that is a lot. Could you spell your name, please? And 23-year-old Sebastian Jesus Paraguez Soto, both from Chile, were also taken into custody and admitted breaking into several homes. You guys do it? Yes, we did. Could you deport us, please? All right. Another Chilean national, Felipe Liva Solis, 33, was arrested several times last year after being suspected of being part of an organized burglary ring responsible for a minimum of 10 residential burglaries. So they know this is going on. Here we are, a couple of years later. We're going to get after that. Ring. I did. Is there anything else in this? Just a bunch of stories. Did I cover this woman? No, that's the Gracia Romanduski. She looks like a tough character, doesn't she? You're not going to find her at the PTA meeting, are you? No, she's out robbing. She's robbing and stealing. It's estimated that they made off with $1 million in jewelry, cash, and electronics. That's nice. That's swell. What else do we got? Okay, that's it on that one. But what I wanted to share was, this is a video I did like 10 months ago. How long ago was this? A year ago. It was a year ago. Professional South American burglary gangs target wealthy U.S. cities with loose criminal laws. This is a story that's been running out there. We know it. Government knows it. Biden administration knows it. And what's happening? What are we doing? Now, there's so many of these instances of just craziness going on that it's like, you're just seeing all these issues just whiz past you. And so for the government to get a hold of any of them and do anything about it, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what that's going to take. Make that vote count, right? That's all I can say. You need some new leadership in the United States. Because what's going on right now, it's like, yeah, we're not sure where they are. Yeah, we've got criminals entering. Yeah, we got bipping going on. Got a whole new vocabulary to talk about smash and grabs. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So pick a topic and, we'll try our best to make things better. And it doesn't, things don't seem to be going in the right direction. That's kind of bottom line. But this story I thought was an interesting one because they have identified it, down to tourist burglaries. And they know their MO, and they're doing it in such broad, big scale that it's become a mainline U.S. news story. And there's all kinds of videos on it. And what's really going on? Yeah, we're letting it happen because these are people flying into the United States legally. Gotta crack down on that border. Speaking of which, the southern border, we're waiting for another ruling from an appeals court on SB 4 down in Texas to see if Texas can go ahead and basically do their own border security, contain their own state border, which is also federal border with Mexico. Just kind of waiting to see how that goes because the Supreme Court said, we're going to put a hold on that. The appeals court said, nope, can't do that. So it's in kind of limbo right now, but it'll be really interesting to see kind of where that evolves to. And I don't know. I'm split. Up until this point in time on SB4 down in Texas, I don't think this is going to fly because then so many of these other states are basically going to take up arms that want to and start protecting their own border and arresting illegals and tossing them out. And I don't see that as, given everything else that's going on, I don't see that as a real reality. My folks in Texas, I know there's a lot of you watching in Texas. I wish that things would happen in a more positive manner. But the way things have gone with, 7-8 million people coming into the U.S. illegally and moving around 300,000 kids. I mean, the massive numbers alone just dictate that this isn't going away anytime soon. This is just what's happening. Again, make that vote count, right? It's about the only thing you can do because you can't go down there and protect the southern border for Texas, single-handedly. Although Texas National Guard is doing a heck of a drill. Those guys, along with all the other military entities in Texas, they have really slowed the numbers down. But the Mexican government is also kicking a lot of people back further from the northern end of Mexico back towards the southern end. They're doing some work there. But, the president of Mexico is friends with Biden, and they're not going to take people back that are not Mexicans. They're going through that right now. Yeah, don't want to take any of the Central or South America. Chinese, that's a hard no-go. We're not taking any of those people back. You can keep them in the U.S., even though they allowed all these people to just run through Mexico and illegally get into the United States. All right, I'm going to end this segment with that right there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting. Love to have you subscribe if you haven't already. Do all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for being here. All right, live streamers, we're still going. We've still got topics. All right, we covered that one, and there's my video there. Let's get into the TikToker. Let's get into TikTok boy. This guy is just, he's something else. Jeffrey Epstein state changed his last name to Gilligan. Gilligan instead of Epstein. So that we should now say Gilligan's Island. I get it. That's funny. Yeah, it's just Gilligan's Island. Man, I loved Gilligan's Island. That was a great show. Those women, what were they, like in their mid-20s? I thought they were so, momish. It's like, oh, look at that. We got Marianne. We got Ginger. Oh, got the professor. I used to rush home to watch that. It was like on the cusp. If I got home, if I didn't hustle to get home, I had to walk up a big hill, just whatever, and get home and watch Gilligan's Island. And then right after Gilligan's Island, Hogan's Heroes came on. Those are the glory days, 1970. I would have been third grade, so I would have been 8, 76, something like that, 77. Those were good times, good times. When you had Nazis on television. Yeah, yeah, and nobody said a thing. Yeah, Hogan's Heroes, great show. All right, but Gilligan's Island. TikTok boy is only 5 feet tall. Is he? That's not tall, is it? A lot of them are not tall. They are not tall. But this guy's got a mouth on him. All right, let's okay, this is my video. This is my article. How are we looking? We are looking good. Okay, we're going to do that. You have to square that away. Don't mind me. I'm just talking to myself. I'm working out what we're doing here. All right, here we go. The fence behind him is 3 feet tall, making him look tall, right? It's always the perspective. How tall is that? Well, that woman there is 14 feet tall, so that guy must be 6. Kristen, here we go. A TikToker tells illegal immigrants how to invade American homes and invoke squatters' rights. This guy dials it right in on TikTok. Yeah, this is insanity. Here we go. Let's check it out. That fool is super short. He looks like a real prize. Probably is. Probably. I mean, this guy looks like a criminal. He just straight up looks like a criminal. You ever just see people, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not inviting him to dinner. This is their country. That is so true, right? You feel like it's not your country anymore? I do. And I live pretty far away from a lot of this ridiculousness. But the flip side to that is I got a bunch of people with blue hair that are just out of their minds. It's so annoying. Don't have as many immigrants as, like, say, somebody down in Florida or Texas or anywhere down there. But we've got a different kind of illegal, right? All right. Let's, here we go. Kristen, cut, and we are going to start from right here. Let's watch a little video.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. Capichi, muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno. Y creo que ese será mi próximo negocio. Invadir casas abandonadas.
Invading abandoned homes. Invading abandoned homes.
Ya que me he buscado unos códigos con mis amigos africanos. Y me dijeron que ya llevan como 7 casas expropiadas. Y como dice el dicho, papi, hay que buscar la vuelta. Y la vuelta ahorita mismo es invadir casas. Ya que nos encontramos en situación de calle. Y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública. Capichi, la ley dice que las casas abandonadas, deterioradas y que esté en mal estado, podemos llegar y repararlas, vivir en ellas y si podemos venderlas, hasta pedir créditos con ellas. ¿Qué dicen ustedes?
Yeah. How in the world is that out there? Thank you, House of Has. Sorry, Tristan. Thank you for that. Let's talk about that. These Home Depot graduates are going to try this with the wrong house one day and experience the old VV cartel violence from an American home. Yeah, they probably are. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Somebody's just going to get taken out. This kind of ridiculousness just it can't keep going on. I mean, it can, but there's going to be some kind of crazy reaction. You're going to have people just, you know what? No. You're like one of those TikTokers. You're out of here. No, I'm going to stay. They told me I could stay. No. Or, clubbed over the head with a hammer, whatever it takes. Yeah, it's absolutely insane that this is going on. And these people on TikTok, how is this still out there on TikTok? How is this still out there? I mean, this guy is literally telling people, if you see a house, it doesn't look great, go ahead and occupy it. And, we'll fix it up and maybe we'll sell it later. He's literally talking about stealing people's homes and then it's okay. Because if you're living in the street, it's your prerogative to go ahead and take what you need to. Because you got to look at the return. You got to look at what you can get. So come to the United States illegally, take over abandoned homes and sell them. That's what he's saying. Was this just to get a bunch of attention? Yeah, probably. But he's also talking about other stuff where he's talking to basically gang members, right? Let's be honest. He's talking to gang members. A migrant TikToker with a 500,000 strong online following. What is the world coming to? What literally? And this guy's just spouting off with just some of the most ridiculous stuff. And I'm over here talking about the news and I get just constricted all the time. Oh, you can't talk about that. Oh, no, you can't talk about that. That, no. You didn't follow God. No, you can't do that. This guy's talking about just robbing people from their homes, from their real estate. Migrant TikToker with a 500,000 strong online following is offering his comrades, love that word, comrades, tips on how to invade unoccupied homes and invoke squatters' rights in the United States. Venezuelan national Leonel Moreno, who appears to live in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, said in a recent video that under U.S. law, if a house is not inhabited, we can seize it. No, you can't. That's called stealing. It's like if you see a bike on the sidewalk that somebody, just hasn't, been physically attached to at the moment. You can't just take it. It's called stealing somebody else's property. But what do these illegals care? Because they came already into the United States illegally and they got handed a bunch of stuff. And now they're just going to, try and do what they can to make it go. And if a life of crime is what they choose, got some bad hombres out there, right? You're seeing that the numbers you are seeing, and I believe what we're seeing now is the end result of the last 3 years of just shenanigans left and right. I mean, that's all you can call it. Because who would have thought that if you let 7 or 8 million people into the country, that a certain percentage of those folks might not be, church ladies. Let's say that, right? Saturday Night Live, the church lady. Remember the church lady? That was great. That was a great character. So our guy here, he appeared to be referring to adverse possession laws, commonly known as squatters' rights, which allow unlawful property occupants rights over the property they occupy without the owner's consent in certain circumstances. I have been in real estate since call it mid-1980s. I have heard so many stories about, they would have had squatters' rights. They would have had, adverse possession if they would have just stayed, but the court ruled the other way. Adverse possession doesn't really happen, right? It's so rare. I never had an appraisal where somebody had taken the property through adverse possession. It's usually like some kind of easement or something. Yeah, I've been driving up on Old Man Johnson's barn, his road. I've been just driving along his driveway and I need that easement for my back 10 acres. It's usually something like that, right? We're not talking about just taking over people's homes and I'm here. But that's where these jokers, I mean, this isn't that far off what we read earlier in New York, is it? It's not that far off. Coming in, take a house, maybe do a little remodeling, throw in a door or two. It's all good. It's all good. Moreno claimed in the viral TikTok clip which has drawn more than 3.9 million views. I don't know if him having 500,000 followers is more annoying or that 3.9 million people watched this. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what are we doing? That he has African friends, really from Africa. Are they from Africa? What do we got going on? I think that might have been lost in translation, if you know what I mean, right? Who have already taken about 7 homes. So that's encouraging. That's nice. What are they doing? Who knows? Who knows? The firebrand influencer? The firebrand influencer. Calling this guy a firebrand influencer. I'd say he is a peddler of misinformation. Shouldn't he be thrown off for that? I mean, if I can't do a story on Hunter Biden's laptop from hell, if that gets labeled as Russian misinformation, this guy literally is spouting misinformation. Now we can take it, we can fix it up, we can sell it. And yet it's TikTok. So it's Chinese owned. Yeah, the world's your oyster. Just keep going. The firebrand influencer who lives with his partner and their baby daughter, this guy has children, a daughter, argued that the only way for his fellow migrants to escape living on the streets and not becoming a public burden is to invade unoccupied homes. I don't believe that is the end goal. So you've got XYZ percentage of the however million that are in the country that are doing shenanigans. This guy is one of them. Numbers wise, you're going to see more and more of this kind of guy out there, right? Because people around the world are going to go, oh, we got 500,000 followers. Oh, he must know what he's talking. Oh, they've already taken 7. Oh, yeah. 3.9 million people have watched it. Many TikTok commenters were outraged by Moreno's message encouraging squatting, which has emerged as a major problem in recent years across the U.S., and especially in Democrat-led cities, including Nueva York, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. Yeah, we're having it happen here in Seattle. I mean, it's happening all over, and it happens in these cities that are just so pro-tenant. They're just landlords. Make the landlords pay for the mortgages. Let's put a rent eviction in place. Let's put an eviction moratorium in place. Let's not pay rent. Let's just not do any of this stuff because, socialism is so great. And that's what we're heading for. And that's what we're looking at doing. So New York City, Atlanta, and LA, absolutely. So I did the video on the Bellevue protest, and some people over in Seattle were like, can you believe this? This is terrible. That poor tenant is being harassed. He got doxxed. The guy's done it twice, and, he's a serial squatter. I say whatever it takes to get him out. Legally, of course, right? Of course. So this guy needs to be charged with whatever crime, one angry critic wrote. Well, has he committed? He's given out some bad advice. He's given out some bum advice. Has he actually committed any crimes? Well, I mean, if he has, well, okay, figure that out. Pretty sure this is illegal. You think? Really? Taking over others' property just because you heard that this is a thing? People get this so wrong. It's like, remember the sovereign citizens? I mean, what in the world was that all about? I mean, I know they're still out there. I know they're still babbling about, I don't need a driver's license. I don't need all this stuff. And you're like, okay, well, as you go to jail, why don't you call me on your cell phone and we'll talk about it? Because actually, there's some U.S. law that you are under, and you're going to need to follow that. So pretty sure this is illegal, and I feel like he's encouraging others to engage in illegal activities, another chimed in. 100%. That's what he's doing based on total misinformation. But we're just going to let this go. Just going to, hey, look at Mr. TikToker. A third tagged the FBI, calling on the federal agency to please investigate that Venezuelan. That's funny. Go after the Venezuelan. Laws regarding squatters exist in all 50 states, offering trespassers a wide range of protections if they establish legal occupancy. And so often they do not. But it gets bogged down in the court system. And these court systems, especially in the states that we just talked about, prosecutors, oftentimes, and defense attorneys, they're often very liberal. They're not going to prosecute anybody for anything. So these things can get tied up in court for years and years and years. And who suffers? The landlord. So what ends up happening with rent? That landlord ends up selling his unit. It's so expensive that it gets sold to an owner occupied. They're not going to rent it out. And if that guy has any other rental properties, he's not going to take a chance on anybody with any kind of issue. He's going to take only golden people, right? Super high credit, a lot of cash in the bank. You know, they could probably buy the home, but for whatever reason, they don't want to. And then he's going to bump up the rent to take, you know, his risk of renting out his home. Because now it's a known quantity that if you rent out your home, there's a likelihood it could get squatted in, whether it's in, you know, those few days when, you know, you've got tenants moving in and out, or maybe you're doing a remodel or something along those lines. There are often times when a house is vacant for a period of time because you can't be doing all kinds of toxic painting and maybe scraping off the popcorn ceilings. You can't be doing that with people living in it, or you shouldn't. You can, but it's not recommended. I've done it a bunch. Popcorn ceilings, get them wet, scrape them down. As long as you're not huffing and puffing that stuff that may or may not have asbestos in it, you're fine. You know, live an exciting life. Roll those dice. Well, will I get cancer here? Probably not if you haven't been doing it for an entire lifetime, right? In New York City, people who are able to remain on the property for just 30 days, talked about that earlier, can claim squatters' rights. Migrant influencer Moreno, that's his name now, okay. Migrant influencer Moreno has previously shared videos bragging about earning money by begging on the streets while collecting government handouts. This guy's a shyster. He's up to shenanigans. I mean, He also made headlines last month by urging his compatriots, well, he's got compatriots and he's got comrades, to throw their support behind 15-year-old Jesus Alejandro Rivas Figueroa, who is charged as an adult with attempted murder for allegedly shooting a tourist in Times Square and firing on cops. We're going to support that guy? This guy's an absolute loser. Deport him, throw him out, incarcerate him. I don't care what you do. Get rid of him. I invite you to look for his mother and all of us to join to pay the bail so that we can see this young Venezuelan feels that you are not alone in difficult times, but remembers that there is a God up there who sees. And he sees you shooting people and committing illegal acts. And he says, no, because, you know, that's what you do. That's what's going on. We're not supporting these people. These people are just, the fact that they come into the country and just do their thing, and it includes this kind of criminal activity. Today, it could be him. Tomorrow, it could be you. Trying to rile up that whole notion of, this guy came into the country and he shot some people. It's okay. You still need to support him because he's our guy. He's from our country. He did something wrong. It's okay. Nope, that's not. Literally says it right here. He did something wrong. It's okay. Now multiply that by 7 million people that have come in and are resident here in the United States by XYZ percentage, all believing he did something wrong and it's okay. How do you think that's going to work out? Yeah, not well, right? Not well. So you're going to see more and more of these stories. You just are. I mean, these folks are in. They're in the country. They are here. They're not just going to, well, you know what? Yeah, Biden's no longer president. God, I hope. And so therefore, we're just going to cut down on this criminal activity, even though we're in a very blue city and they won't deport us and they won't even, tell ICE about us. And we can just get the heck out of Dodge whenever we want. Maybe we'll do a little fly-in action on our legal visa. Who knows what the case is, right? But it's no wonder that we have the level of shenanigans going on that's out there because, math. You've let so many people in, math. Now, are, vast majority of these people hardworking? Are they coming into the country? Are they looking to work? I believe a good majority are. But with that, and here's the but, which is this is all that really matters, is that a percentage aren't. And we knew that. And even with the good ones, we don't know who they are. We haven't vetted them. We've just scribbled their name down in a database. Did we do a little bit of work? No. We're just like, all right, here's your court case. Yeah, be a good boy and girl. Don't ruffle any feathers. Or, hey, you know what? Ruffle as many feathers as you want. Scream about it on TikTok. Apparently it's okay. Because, the percentages on all of the illegals that are in the country, you're going to have a bunch that are doing some. Lake and Riley is, one of those issues where bad things are going to happen. And you've got legislation going on. And then you've got the left saying, these are just, people looking to gain a better life. Well, they need to do it legally, and they're not doing it legally. And then some of them are doing it illegally, and then they're doing illegal stuff like this joker here, who can they arrest this guy for saying this stuff? I mean, has he said anything that breaks the laws? He's giving out some absolutely horrific advice, and I don't agree with it. But is he breaking the law? I don't know. But, I mean, on social media, everybody puts up such a big stink. There was such a big thing about, you can't provide misinformation about COVID. Wouldn't want to have that. Did you hear Joe Rogan? He took horse medicine. Remember that? Remember that whole thing? CNN doctor. He took horse medicine. It's not good. We just need to get the vaccine. Just get the jab, get the shot, get the jab, get the shot. Remember, we were just told that over and over and over. Remember when people were losing their jobs? It's like, okay. And now you're scrambling for firefighters. You're scrambling for cops. But we were firing people? What was that all about? It's wild, right? See, it kind of makes you wonder, okay, I can't talk about just, hey, anything wrong with this vaccine that we know? But this joker here on major social media can go out and just spout absolute trash that is, number one, 100% incorrect. He's just handing out lies because he's heard, we took 7 of these homes from some other comrades that are, equally as stupid, don't have the experience. This is what he heard. And he's an influencer, and he's going to go out and say whatever the F he wants. And people are watching. 3.9 million. I bet you it's way over 4 million by now. And people are watching. So he's got a market. It's just that it's based on complete nonsense. Just sheer shenanigans. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to go eat some lunch. So I'm going to end this live stream. I'll end this segment here. And we'll do the outro. But I am going to stick around and see some comments here. So, all right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. All right, see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, low-skilled jobs have not kept close to keeping up with inflation. That is absolutely true. Just people are having a hard time making a go of it. And inflation has just been so rampant. I think, are people going to recognize that in the election? I don't know. Biden's trying to tell everybody that, yeah, it's been great, bringing it back, build back better, all that good stuff. Yeah, stand up for your rights, right? I mean, you have to. There's no other way around it. Who knows? Chinese military-age men without families coming through the border in California by, house separately. Yeah, I did. I watched that Brett Weinstein on Rogan and on Tucker. I watched both of those. I watched and this is Peter is my first name. I love that last name, Peter. I watched the Brett Weinstein twice because on the Joe Rogan, because he had some interesting stuff on there. And, you see in other instances where news reporters will go up to the military-aged men from China and ask them, what are you doing? What's your end goal here? And they just don't want to talk to the reporter. And you're like, huh. Yeah, they're bringing their rolling suitcase because they flew in. Wild stuff. It's crazy stuff. All right. That's it for me, guys. I will catch up with you. We'll do another live stream on Tuesday. We're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. But we've got more content coming. I've been recording a bunch. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll catch up with you on the next live stream. Thanks again. Bye for now. Look at this guy's face. Somebody needs to take him out. What?